Hello friends. So now we are going to study the class A output stage. Okay. In the last class we saw that the transistor in class A stage conducts for the entire cycle of the input signal, that is the conduction angle is 360 degree. Okay. Also the class A stage is biased at a current I or IC in this case. So we are talking about IC here. So this is the biasing current IC. Suppose this is the amplitude of the signal current IP. So IC should be greater than IP. Okay. So this was class A conduction. Okay, now in this class we are going to study the class A output stage in detail with circuit diagram. Okay, let us have the first topic as the transfer characteristic. Okay, so since the emitter follower has the low output resistance, it is the most popular class A output stage. Okay, so we are going to use an emitter follower as a main transistor. So let us have Q1, which is configured in the emitter follower configuration. So this is the power supply VCC. Emitter follower has input applied at base and output is taken at the emitter. So let us have one resistance RL here at the emitter, and across this we are taking the output V0. Okay, now this Q1 should be biased to provide a constant current I. So I is a current source which provides the constant current for the biasing of Q1. Okay, now this Qi is just a symbol. Actually it will be represented using a current mirror. Okay, let us draw the current mirror here. So let me remove this first. So this was the symbolic representation, means it should have a constant current I, okay, for the biasing purpose. Okay, so let us bias this by the help of another transistor Q2. Okay, then we have a resistor R, and then we have a Q3, which is a diode connected transistor. Okay, now what is diode connected transistor? See, basically a transistor has three terminals. If you connect this terminal and this terminal together, means base and collector together, now it will have only two terminals. So that's why it's called a diode connected transistor. Okay, so it is simply Q3 represents the diode connected transistor. Okay, now Q2 will provide a constant current I, which is required for the biasing of Q1. Okay, this voltage is VBE1. Okay, this current is IE1, and let us have the load current as IL. Okay, now one important thing here, if we see at this node, so we can write IE1 equals to I plus IL, and IE1 is same as IC1. Okay, here alpha I will consider as a 1. Okay, now what this represents? See, suppose we want to draw the waveform for IE1 or IC1, then what we'll have? Okay, see, first it will have a constant current, bias current I, on that IL is superimposed. So this represents IL. So IE1 equals to I plus IL. Okay, now suppose this value is the amplitude or largest negative load current. Okay, so this I must be greater than this largest negative load current. Okay, so since the emitter current IE1 equals to I plus IL, the bias current I must be greater than the largest negative load current, otherwise Q1 will go to cutoff and then class A operation will not be maintained. Okay, so this is one important concept here. I should be greater than the largest negative load current. Okay, now see here, this is if we apply from here, if we start KVL, so plus VI minus VBE1 minus V naught equals to 0, we can write here. Okay, so plus VI minus VBE1 minus V naught equals to 0. Okay, based on this we can write V naught equals to VI minus VBE1. Okay, so let us write here V naught equals to VI minus VBE1, and let us call it equation number 1. Okay, where VBE1 depends on the emitter current IE1 and thus on the load current IL. Okay, now we are going to draw the transfer characteristics, linear transfer curve. What is transfer curve? Transfer curve is a curve between V0 and Vi. Okay, for that we are going to find out the maximum and minimum values of V0, that will be the limiting values. Okay, so if we draw a linear transfer curve, then the positive limit of the linear region is determined by saturation of Q1. Now what does it mean? Okay, okay, so let us have, see, if we have this KVL here from here to here. Okay, what we are saying, we'll see that, okay, we'll see that plus VCC minus VCE1 minus V naught equals to 0. This is VCE1 here. Okay, and from here to here it is V naught. Okay, so means from this point to the ground it is V naught. So we can write plus VCC minus VCE1 minus V naught equals to 0. Okay, I'll write this equation here. Plus VCC minus VCE1 minus V naught equals to 0, or V naught equals to VCC minus VCE1. Okay, V naught equals to VCC minus VCE1. Okay, now if we want V naught to be maximum, this VCC is a constant, it means VCE should be minimum. Okay, so V naught max equals to VCC minus, now what is VCE minimum? VCE minimum will get when the Q1 will go to saturation. Okay, so it is VCE1 sat. Okay, ideally in saturation VCE is 0. Okay, but practically it is not 0, some value will be present, so that's why we written here the VCE1 saturation. Okay, so this is the maximum value of V0. Now what is the minimum value of V0? Minimum value of V0 will occur in two conditions. Okay, one condition when Q1 go to cutoff, and second condition when Q2 goes to saturation. Okay, so in the negative direction the limit of linear region is determined by two conditions. First, by turning Q1 off. Okay, now what will happen if Q1 is off? Okay, so Q1 will be if Q1 is off, so what will happen? It means IE1 will be 0. Okay, if Q1 is off, it means IE1 will be 0. Now what will happen? If IE1 equals to 0, it means I equals to minus IL. Okay, so if you use KCL here, this current is 0. It means I equals to minus IL. So what is V0 here? So V0 will be minus IL into RL. Okay, so this was the one condition when by keeping Q1 off, that time V0 min equals to minus IL is I, so minus I into RL. We can see here. Okay, IL is I, so minus this comes this side. So V0 equals to minus I into RL, this equation. Let us call this equation number 3, and this is the equation number 2 here. Okay, now this was the first condition. Now what is the second condition? Second, by keeping Q2 saturation. Okay, now if Q2 is saturation, what will happen? Okay, if Q2 is in saturation, then let's say from here to here, this value is V0, and this is the VCE to saturation. So V0 will be minus VCC plus VCE sat 2. Okay, so that time what will happen to the V0 min? Okay, so by keeping Q2 saturation, V0 min equals to minus VCC plus VCE2 sat, let us call it equation number 4. So this we can see from here. Okay, now we are going to have two minimum conditions here. Okay, both we will represent in the curve, but the equation 4 will give the most negative output voltage. Okay, so this also negative minimum first for one condition, this is for another condition. Out of these two, equation number 4 will give the most negative output voltage. Okay, now what condition is? The bias current I should be greater than the magnitude of the corresponding load current. Okay, this already we have seen. Okay, so now for this one condition from equation 4, it is, let me take a new page. So that is minus VCC plus VCE2 sat. Okay, so this is the most negative value. Now the I should be greater than that. I should be greater than, so if I divide this by RL and I take the only magnitude, so the bias current I should be greater than this value. Okay, so this is equation number 5. This is the condition we have to maintain. Okay, now keeping this all this point, let us draw the linear transfer curve. Okay, so this is the y-axis output voltage, x-axis input voltage, this is 0. Okay, so we have seen already by the equation number 2 will give the V0 max in positive direction. So this value already we have seen from equation number 2, it is as VCC minus VCE1 sat. Okay, so this is the maximum value in positive direction. In negative direction we will have two values. Okay, one given by equation number 3 and other given by equation number 4. So from equation number 3 it was given as this value as minus I RL, and from equation number 4 another value, and we already maintained that equation number 4 will give the most negative. Okay, so this will be value given by equation number 4, which is minus VCC plus VCE2 in saturation. Okay, so these are the limiting points we have made. Okay, now let us draw the curve. So from equation number 1 we saw that V naught equals to Vi minus VBE1. Okay, now see that, see, until Vi reaches to VBE1, so from here we start here Vi. Okay, so at this value, when Vi is VBE1, so before that V naught will not exist. After that, as we increase Vi, V naught will increase. Okay, so it will go like this, and then it will reach to the maximum value. Okay, now when Vi is 0, put here Vi equals to 0. So what is V naught? V naught is minus VBE1. Okay, so it will be here. So in the negative direction, it will go like this. At 0, V naught equals to VBE1. So this direction, this distance and this distance is same. Okay. Now after that, then as negative cycle, it will increase, and first it will reach to IRL, I into RL, which is by turning off Q1, and then it will continue. So we'll have two maximum as we already discussed this way. Okay, this slope is linear. Okay, so from here this slope is 1, ratio is 1 here. So this is the transfer curve in output versus input voltage. Okay, so this was the topic, transfer characteristics. We have seen all these equations and the transfer curve. Now based on this, let us draw the signal waveforms. Okay, so for the signal waveforms, I have taken the waveforms for V naught, then we will draw the waveform for VCE1, then waveform for IC1, and finally the power dissipation in Q1. Okay, for a better understanding and a good comparison, I have drawn some red line on the T time axis for the better comparison purpose. Okay, now let us draw first for V naught. Okay, now if you see this transfer curve, okay, if this I is properly selected, okay, then if we ignore this VCE1 sat and VCE2 sat, we will see that V naught will swing from plus VCC to minus VCC. Okay, so let us draw here. Okay, so suppose this is the plus VCC and this is the minus VCC. So V naught will swing between these two values. Okay, so first it will go to plus VCC. Sorry, let me draw this properly. Then it will go down like this, and finally it will reach to here minus VCC, and then okay, this line is not drawn properly, but I hope you understand the concept here. Okay, now if you want to draw the waveform for VCE1, okay, if we use KVL, we can easily write as plus VCC minus VCE1 minus V naught equals to 0. So this equation we written from the KVL. Okay, so from here I can write as VCE1 equals to VCC minus V naught. Okay, now look at this equation carefully. VCE1 we get when we subtract V naught from a fixed value VCC. Okay, so let us have a value VCC here first. Okay, now let us see. See here, when V naught is 0 here, so what will happen? When V naught is 0, okay, that time VCE1 will be VCC, so VCE1 will be here. Okay, now at this point, what is V naught? V naught is VCC. Okay, if you put V naught equals to VCC here, what is VCE1? VCE1 will get 0. Okay, so it will go like this. Okay, now next here, what is V naught? 0. So if you put V naught 0 here, we will get VCE1 equals to VCC. So again it will go up like this. Okay, now main important here, at this point, what is V naught? V naught is minus VCC. So if you put minus VCC in this equation, we will get VCE1 equals to 2 VCC. Okay, so it will reach like this. Okay, where this value is 2 VCC. Okay, and now at this point, what is V naught? V naught is 0, so VCE1 will be VCC. It will come back like this. Okay, so that's why I have drawn this red line vertical for easy comparison purpose. Okay, so this was the diagram of VCE1. Now, how to draw the diagram for IC1? Okay, let us see. In the beginning, we saw that IC1 was like this. This is I, and on that we superimposed IL. So this is IL, and we established that this current I should be greater or equal to the largest negative load current. Okay, now if we assume that the I is selected in such a way that a maximum negative load current is allowed. Okay, it means this can go like this. This also IL equals to I. So in this case, IL becomes I, and which is nothing but VCC by RL. Okay, so this also will be I. So from here it is 2I. Okay, so in the same way we can draw the diagram for IC1. Okay, so for IC1, this is I and this is I. So waveform will be like this. First it will reach to, then here, okay. So this diagram I have replicated here. So here we assume that the bias current I is selected to allow a maximum negative load current of VCC by RL. Okay, so in this case, in this way we can draw the diagram waveform for IC1. Now for the instantaneous power dissipation PD1, so the formula is PD1 equals to VCE1 into IC1. Okay, so to draw the diagram or waveform for PD1, we have to consult the waveform for VCE1 and IC1. Okay, so this is VCE1 and this is IC1. Okay, let us see. At this point, at 0, okay, what is VCE1? It is VCC. Okay, and what is IC1? It is I. Okay, so at 0, PD1 will be at VCC into I. Okay, let me write it properly. VCC into I. So this is PD1 at t equals to 0. Now at this point, okay, what is the value of VCE1? VCE1 is 0. Okay, so whatever the IC1 is, PD1 will be 0. Okay, so it will go here. Okay, now at this point, okay, now at this point VCE1 equals to VCC, okay, and IC1 equals to I. So again at this point that PD1 will be VCC into I, so it will go like this again. Okay, now at this point IC1 is 0. So whatever the VCE1, PD1 will be 0. So it will go like this. Okay, similarly at this point, okay, VCE1 equals to VCC and IC1 equals to I. So this value will be VCC into I. It means the maximum power dissipation it is maintaining at VCC into I. Okay, this is very important result. Okay, based on all these waveforms, we will cover the next topic as power dissipation. Okay. Okay, so from the waveform of power dissipation here, okay, we can see that the maximum instantaneous power dissipation in Q1 is VCC into I. Okay, Q1 dissipates the largest amount of power when V naught equals to 0. All the places whenever V naught equals to 0, okay, here, okay, and then here you can see, okay, and then here. So whenever V naught equals to 0, these points, okay, Q1 dissipates the largest amount of power. Hence, Q1 must be able to withstand a continuous power dissipation of VCC into I. Okay, I hope this point is clear. Okay, now see, IC1 equals to IE1 equals to I plus IL. Okay, the value of IL depends on RL. Okay, so based on that we can say that the power dissipation in Q1 depends on the value of RL. Okay, so we are going to take two extreme conditions. When RL is infinite, what will happen, and then when RL is 0, when will happen, what will happen. It means when the open load condition and short circuit output conditions. This we are going to see here. Okay, now if RL is infinite, it means IC1 will be only I. Okay, because when RL is infinite, IL will be 0. So if RL equals to infinite, IC1 will be I and is a constant. Okay, means this waveform from IC1, okay, will not change. It will be constant at I. Okay, so if RL equals to infinite, then IC1 equals to I is constant, and the instantaneous power dissipation in Q1 will depend on the instantaneous value of V naught. Okay, now the maximum power dissipation will occur when V naught equals to minus VCC. Here I'll make a rough diagram only. see here, this IC1 is equals to I for RL is infinite. Okay, now what will be the maximum? If you see the diagram of VCE1, see here, VCE1. Okay, now VCE1 multiply by IC1, and IC1 right now only I here. So it means on this we multiply. So at 0 what will happen? At 0 here, let me see here, at 0, what is PD1? PD1 will be I into VCC. Okay, now at this time, okay, what is PD1? PD1 will be I into 0. Okay, so PD1 will be 0. Now at this point, okay, IC1 is always I. Here it is VCE1 equals to VCC. So again it will be VCC into I. Now at this point IC1 is always I, but here VCE1 equals to 2 VCC. Okay, so based on this, that, okay, I'll start from here again this point. If RL equals to infinite, then IC1 equals to I, and this is constant, and the instantaneous power dissipation in Q1 will depend on the instantaneous value of V0. The maximum power dissipation will occur when V0 equals to minus VCC here. Okay, that's what we got here, maximum V0 equals to minus VCC, as in this case VCE1 equals to 2 VCC. Okay, because at this case VCE1 equals to 2 VCC, we can see from here. Okay, and then what will be PD1? PD1 will be VCE1 into IC1 in this case. Then PDE1 will be okay, VCE1 into IC1. VCE1 at this point will be 2 VCC in then I. Okay, so this is the maximum power dissipation, but this condition will not persist for the long time. Okay, now what will be the average value? Okay, if based on this information, if I draw the diagram for power dissipation PD1, okay, so the diagram will be like this. This value is VCC into I, and for every point first it will go to 0, then VCC into I, then when V0 is minus VCC, that time it will go to 2 VCC into I, then it will go like this. Okay, but average value will be always VCC into I. Okay, that's why I'm saying that this condition will not persist for the prolonged interval. Okay, the average power dissipation will be VCC into I. Okay, now this was when RL was infinite. Now if RL equals to 0, then what will happen? Okay, so RL equals to 0 means open short circuit, output is short circuited. Okay, so what will happen? A very large current may flow through Q1. Okay, though resulting large power dissipation in Q1 can raise its junction temperature, causing Q1 to burn. Okay, to guard against this situation, the output stages are usually equipped with the short circuit protection. Short circuit protection. Okay, because when RL is 0, a large current will flow through Q1, and that will increase the junction temperature, so Q1 may burn. Okay, that's why we need a protection which is called as short circuit protection. Okay, so this was about the power dissipation in Q1. Now power dissipation in Q2 should also be considered while designing. Okay, so why? Because Q2 conducts a constant current I. Okay, now if we write KVL around the Q2, transistor Q2, so we can write as plus V0 minus VCE of Q2 plus VCC equals to 0. Okay, you can see from here the first diagram we made. Okay, so from here to here it is V naught, so plus V naught minus here it is VCE2. Okay, so minus VCE2, and this is already minus supply, negative supply, so it will become plus VCC. Okay, this is the KVL we have written. Okay, from this if we can write as VCE2 equals to V naught plus VCC. Okay, now what is V naught? V naught max. V naught max, we have already seen it is VCC. Okay, so it means if we put V naught max here, so what is VCE2 max? VCC plus VCC means 2 VCC. Hence, the PD2 will be again VCE2 into IC. IC is always I here. So, the PD2 max will be the power dissipation in Q2 maximum will be VCE2 maximum into I. So, it is 2 VCC into I. And this also occurs when V naught equals to VCC. Okay, now this condition also will not prevail for longer period of time. Okay, for this also like this it will happen. For this also the average power of Q2 power dissipation Q2 will be VCC into I. Okay, so this was about the power dissipation. We concluded based on the signal waveforms. Okay, now one more topic we will cover now as power conversion efficiency, a very very important topic. The power conversion efficiency of an output stage is defined as eta equals to load power, which is PL, divided by supply power, which is PS. Okay, so this is how the efficiency will be defined. Okay, now assuming that the output voltage is sinusoid with the peak value Vp. Okay, what is the average load power? So the average load power will be PL equals to V naught of RMS value square by RL. Okay, so this is the definition of the PL. Okay, now here we know that Vrms equals to Vp by root 2. Okay, so it will be like the peak value, P is peak value, Vp by root 2 square by RL, or we can write as PL equals to half Vp square by RL. Okay, so this is the load power. Now supply power. We have a two kind of supply here: positive power supply plus VCC and negative power supply minus VCC here. Okay, now the average current in Q1 is I. The average current in Q1 is I, and hence the average power drawn from the positive supply is VCC into I. Okay, same way, since the current in the Q2 is constant, which is I, the power drawn from negative supply is also VCC into I. It means the total average supply power PS will be 2 VCC into I. Okay, so now if you put this in the formula of efficiency, so efficiency eta equals to, by difference it is PL by PS. It means first we write PL. PL is half Vp square by RL, and this is divided by 2 VCC into I. So it will be 2 VCC into I. This will be the value of eta, or we can write as eta equals to 1 by 4 Vp square divided by IRL into VCC. Okay, now we know that Vp is a peak value, so Vp is always less or equal to VCC, and also Vp is less or equal to IRL. Okay, so what is the maximum efficiency to obtain? So for maximum efficiency, Vp will equals to VCC, and this also equal to IRL. So this is the maximum value of Vp. It means if I write eta max, I can write as 1 by 4. So Vp is VCC, so VCC square divided by IRL is also VCC into VCC. So we'll get as simply 1 by 4. Okay, if you want percentage, so percentage maximum efficiency will be 1 by 4 into 100. This will come as 25%. Okay, so the maximum efficiency of a class A power amplifier is 25%. Okay, but this efficiency we got by considering all the ideal constraints. Okay, practically the efficiency will be in the range of 10% to 20%. So efficiency is very less, so class A stage is not used in many places. Okay, so this was about the class A output stage. In the next class, we'll study about the class B. Okay, thank you.